Welcome to the Black Link Experience. My name is Marva B. I am your host, and I'm so excited to be here. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. Let us all welcome Buddy from the R&B Group Intro. Buddy, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I am so excited. I'm so honored that you would take the time to come to Black Link and have a conversation. We're excited to hear about, your journey in this music business and then what you have going on today. So for people that don't know, I don't know who don't know, but for those that do not know, tell them who you are and what you do.
Oh my goodness. My name is Buddy Wike. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up, now I'm grown.
No, and no. Come on with it.
No, you pretty much said it. You pretty much gave me a dynamite introduction. I appreciate your kind words. My name is Buddy. I'm from the R&B Group Intro. Rest in peace, Kenny Green. Shout out to Jeff Sanders and everybody else that's helped us along the way. Like I was just talking to our first DJ a few seconds ago, DJ Clientele.
Wow.
Yeah, we from the 90s. I think we played a big part in the architecture of the 90s sound of hip hop and R&B. We had the opportunity to work with some really good artists like Shinehead and Father MC, Jeff Red, Mary J. Blige, the Winans, and by putting in work as songwriters and producers, we ended up with a record deal with Atlantic Records and the super duper production team, The Untouchables.
Wow.
And here we are.
So here we are. Yeah. So Buddy, let's talk about before, we knew it was Buddy. What was life like? And at what point did you know that it was going to be music for you? And the second part to that is, how did you get connected with the other two in the group?
Okay. Well, for me, music started in the church. I was a musician. I was playing gospel piano in church. I think my first professional job as a musician, I probably was around 12 years old. And right then I knew that I wanted to make music a profession. I didn't know that I would want to grow up to want to be in an R&B group or be a rapper or something like that. But I knew I wanted to have something to do with music because it kind of came natural. And also from me watching my father do it and seeing him being able to make a living from it. And it started pretty young. I stuck with it. I gave it up for a while when I went into the Army because I just didn't have the resources.
Right.
Then one of my friends came to me and told me about Kenny Green, who was in the Army as well. He told me that he has a friend that could sing, and he told him that I knew how to play the piano. So we started searching around for a piano. And once we found a piano on bass, then we just started writing and sticking, and music just started coming back again. And from there, it was just off to the races. Originally, there was three of us with a DJ. Myself, Kenny Green, Nelson Brown,
yes,
and DJ Clientele. His name is Calvin Gerald. And we would do local shows like talent shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. We were in the military, so Prince decided, that's Nelson, he decided to stay in the Army. And me and Kenny came up to New York, and a mutual friend introduced me to Jeff. And so Jeff was in the group before the first album.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you guys were just kind of playing around town, and then at what point did you guys start to make the connections into the industry, like really legitly into the industry?
Well, we rehearsed for like a whole summer in Jeff's mother's backyard, and one of those days we went to a club called the Red Zone, and on the way to the Red Zone we were singing a song that Heavy D did with Jodeci called Peaceful Journey. You're on my mind, I wish you a peaceful journey. And we were singing that song to practice our harmonies. And when we got to the club, we saw Heavy D there. It was like, oh, what a coincidence. And we told him, it was like, yo, we was just singing your song on the way here. He was like, let me hear it. And we sang it for him. He's like, let me get somebody's number. Jeff gave him his number, and Heavy ended up calling Jeff's house. Wow. We went back to North Carolina at this time, but Heavy called Jeff's house and told his mother for us to get in touch with him. We got in touch with him. He's like, come up to New York. I want you to meet with DJ IDF, who was the president and CEO of Untouchables.
Right. Wow. So what was that like? So you guys all got together, you went up to New York. What was that meeting like? I mean, and what was your nerves like? And what did you have to do in order to convince them that we got what it takes?
The meeting was so crazy. The meeting, we sat around for like 2 hours before he even heard us sing. Because he was moving his offices. He was moving his office like from one side of the hallway to the other side of the hallway. And we actually helped him. Started helping him move stuff over. So we was like, oh, this is why we here to help
Yeah.
move the stuff. But then we started singing for him, and then he started getting on the phone. He's like, yo, check this out. And he's playing our acapellas, singing to people over the phone. So we felt like the meeting went well, but there was no say on that day right there that I'm gonna sign you guys or I'm not gonna sign you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But he started calling before he said he was gonna sign us as an artist. He started calling us to come to the studio,
Mm-hmm.
and about 5 days later, we went in the studio with Jeff Red. Another 2 days after that, we go to his house, and I believe that's the time that we met Mary J. Blige. And I think we met Mary J. Blige and Fall MC on the same day at Eddie's house. And then we started working with them, and from there, the record company heard the songs that we were doing with the other artists. So they told Eddie that they wanted to sign us. So we signed to Atlantic Records, and they put out our first album, which was the green and orange one, The Martians. And that's how that started.
Yeah. So in the beginning of your career, I hear in the music industry, like they pick what cover you get to use. They pick what your outfits are going to be like for your photo shoots. Did you guys have any say for that cover? Did you guys have how much say did you have in getting that prepared for the world?
Yeah, shout out to Atlantic Records. They gave us pretty much full creative control. We had our own stylist, who was Misa Hilton, who's a real famous stylist now.
Right.
And the cover, what happened is they gave us like a bunch of different covers to choose from, and we just voted on it. Okay, we're gonna go with this one right here. So the actual back picture on the back cover of that first album was one of the pictures that might have been on the front of it. So being that we didn't pick it, they ended up putting it on the back. And then the artwork in the middle that you see there, those are other pictures that were potential album covers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's amazing to hear that they did give you creative, authority, give you that empowerment to do that, because I hear some artists say, I did not pick that picture. I did not pick
They didn't know, because at Atlantic, we were the first thing of that flavor of the doing the hip hop and the R&B. They shipped us out gold. They didn't ship us out platinum. Had they shipped us out platinum, we probably would have went platinum like out the gate. But
right,
it sold out. It sold out. So it took time to go back to the press and do a whole nother print. By that time, we were already into our second single, going into our third single. By the time they got additional records out for people to go. If you go into the record store to buy an intro and they don't have intro, you're gonna look around and see who else is there, and you're just gonna buy that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of they really weren't prepared for us, but it all worked out,
People still love what you guys do. So moving on to your second single, who wrote on that second single? Did you guys all have a hand in that, or who was writing for you guys at the time?
Yeah, we wrote all our material. Up until today, we've been writing like all of our songs, and I've ran into I know some really super duper songwriters and stuff, and I've just been reluctant to do the co-writing thing, because then it's gonna open up a box. So it's gonna open up like a whole box of why you didn't write with me, why you didn't do it and do that. But I'm kind of like coming out of my shell now. And I'm working with other producers, like this songwriter out of Philly named Jay the Writer. He's really, really dope. I'm actually working on one of his songs right now. So I am trying to break the mold, and they said closed hand don't get fed. Right. So yeah.
So who produced for you guys?
The Untouchables, DJ Eddie F, Dave Hall, Novell Hodge, Kenny Cornegay, Darren Whittington, Spunk Bigger.
Man.
Yeah, there was an amazing production team.
Yeah. So I see records on the wall. Let's talk about those. Yeah, let's talk about those.
That's Intro's gold album, and on that side is Jason Lyric's platinum album. We did the song You Will Know on Black Men United, That was in 1995.
Yeah.
And we also performed it at the American Music Awards. So that soundtrack went platinum, and they sent me a plaque.
So tell me, buddy, at what point in your career, earlier on or whenever, when did you know that Intro was, this is it, like we've made it, we're here?
We had went to the ASCAP Songwriting Awards in 1992, and we
Mhm.
had met a clothing designer prior to going there. His name was Carl Kanai, and he gave us sweatsuits. So we had matching sweatsuits on at the ASCAP Songwriting Awards, and we were just walking around, and I could see people that they was all dressed up, and they was looking at us like, who these guys walking around here in shorts and Carl Kanai and stuff like that. And then the very next year, we went back to the awards, and Kenny won Songwriter of the Year.
Oh
So
my
they knew. I
God.
know somebody had to be like, that's those dudes that were here last year, you know.
Right, right.
Another one was being in Stevie Wonder's house
Oh my
and
gosh.
hanging out with him all day.
Oh my
Those are the moments where I was like, oh man, shoot, feels like we made it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Another one, I'm standing in Patti LaBelle's kitchen at her house. And I'm like, just in her kitchen talking to her, and I'm like, it feels like we made it. You know that song, feels like we made it.
Yeah.
That was another time. It's like it felt like we made it. You know.
Yeah. And did she cook for y'all?
She was cooking, but it wasn't for us. It was for her son's birthday party. I went to her son's birthday party,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
she has a beautiful home. From her kitchen, she can walk down into a swimming pool, like an indoor swimming pool. It's beautiful. Well, growing up, I grew up in a working class family, but I never thought I would have the opportunity to buy my mother a house. When that happened, it was like, feels like we made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yay.
So just stuff like that, you know, and not getting caught up on it and dwelling on it. You got to do it and just keep on moving.
Going out on tour, what was that like? I hear good experiences, bad experiences, long days and nights. What was it like for you? Like, was that the most exciting part of your career? Is the touring part?
Nelson's brother played the drums for Albie Shore, and it looked like a lot of fun. I remember going onto Al's bus and saying to myself, one day I would like to ride on a tour bus.
Oh.
And they said, be careful what you ask for.
That's right.
It went from saying, one day I want to ride on a tour bus to the point where I was tired of riding on tour buses. It's really, touring is good because you get to see how your music affects certain areas of the world and stuff. And Atlantic Records did really good with routing our tours. We went every place from I say Brownsville to Beverly Hills. They sent us over to Germany, Amsterdam, Russia,
Wow.
Denmark, every part of England. Yeah, it's been, you know, places. Music has took me places that I know I would have never gone. I've been to a couple places in the military, like Germany, but with the touring, it can get grueling if you don't schedule it right. If you schedule it right, then it's fun because you're doing music, you love it, and it pays pretty good. Yeah. But if you don't schedule it right, like if you have a show in California, then you got a show in Boston, then you got a show in Arizona, and you're just going back and back and back and stuff like that. It doesn't work. You got to do it state by state. Yeah. New York, Philly, DC, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. You know, you have to know how to route your tour. And when you do it like that, then it's pretty cool. And just to go out and meet people, it seemed like everywhere I went, I had a family member somewhere. Yeah. You know, they would come out and be like a family reunion. It allowed me to see my family around the country.
What was it like working with as a group? You know, and how was that? What was the ups and downs like? What was the experience?
Being in our group, being that it was three of us, we always had a middleman to make the decision. Like it wasn't like two guys against two guys. Yeah. We're gonna do this and y'all gonna do that. If somebody come up with an idea and there's a counter idea to it, then there's always that third person to be the voice of reason. Well, why don't we do this? So we got along pretty good, you know. Like in anything, when you're around somebody for a long time, you find things that you like and you find some things that you don't like.
It's true.
And but we were able to talk about a lot of things, and you know, we fought at times, not physically, but you know, I'm not I'm not speaking to you today. I'm not speaking to them today. And like, you know, it's just like regular life, you know, like brothers and sisters. Like
The people that you opened up for, because I know it starts out you opening up for people, right? How is that like? Do they call their people, call your people call them and say, hey, put intro on? How does that process work?
with intro, we did a promotional tour first.
Mm,
The label put us on a promotional tour. We were up in high school singing Come Inside. Nobody knew what the song meant.
brilliant.
They put us on a high school tour. Let Me Be the One, Love Thing, Ribbon in the Sky, Come Inside. And we did a high school tour, California to like Texas, you know, and the high school tour lasted for a whole month. We did that.
Uh-huh.
We went on a promotional tour, and they got a break from being in class because intro was there. So we gave them a break, and then we introduced them to our music.
And once you did the high school tour, how did that connect you to like the big stages with the big names?
Um, the promoters, the promoters. Well, a booking agency came to us. Peter Seitz. And Peter Seitz and Jerry A. They had famous booking agency at the time. They were booking like R. Kelly, Boys to Men, like all of those big acts right there. So once they started hearing our songs on the radio in New York, they called us in for a meeting, and we actually signed a contract with them for them to do our exclusive booking. So anytime somebody would come to our manager, he would refer them to Famous, and Famous would work out the contracts and collect the money and do the flights and the hotels and stuff like that, just to make it easier for us.
Wow.
And beginning, we were opening up for like After Seven, Cheryl Pepsi Riley. And they just put us on tour with Silk, Intro, Mint Condition, Silk, and H-Town. We did that tour. Then we did Intro and SWV in England. Wow. Did a couple cities over there. Then we just did what they call spot dates. Like promoters would call, and then we just go and, you know, instead they're not always tours. Sometimes they're like spot dates. Like this Saturday, we're gonna be in a place called Salisbury, North Carolina. I don't know if I've ever been to Salisbury before. I've been in North Carolina. I love North Carolina.
With all that you've done up to date, and all the touring and all the music making and all the studio time, you still have that love for music. You still in it like it was the first time getting into it.
Absolutely. There's never been a time that I've hated music. There's been times when I've hated the music business, but I've never stopped loving music.
A great segue into what I want to talk about next.
Okay.
I talk to a lot of artists who are, you know, A and B listers, and we talk about, you know, the music business and the business side of it, and how it can be kind of grimy sometimes, and how they share their experiences with that and what they learned from that. Can you talk about any time that the business got really grimy for you guys, and how did you combat that and get past that?
Well, once money, they always say when there's money, people act funny. Like before we started like selling records and like making money, you know, no one was really interested in our personal, you know, our personal stuff. They run us from here to there. And let me see, how can I say this? Because I feel like Intro's been blessed, because I speak to a lot of artists on the road, and they always talk about their managers stealing money from them and stuff. Like our manager never stole money. We never, if he did, we never caught him. You know, I never had the problem of saying, yo, man, you did this, or pointing my finger at somebody. They set us up with retirement accounts. You know, I think the difference with Intro and a lot of other groups like the A's and B's, like you say, is that we were signed to like a corporation. So they couldn't do too much to us because they didn't want to damage their reputation.
Right, because audits, right? You can do audits, have them to do an audit and keep them accountable that way.
There were people that tried to like tear us apart for their own personal gain, you know. But as they were doing it, I was encouraging it out because it was like, say for instance, after the first album, they wanted Kenny to do a solo album, but Kenny didn't want to do the solo album. And I encouraged Kenny to do the solo album, but he didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it.
But yeah.
God, you guys were just amazing.
There's some rough times. But I would have to name names. It wasn't really with people stealing from us. It was just like people bringing people around us that I thought weren't good for the good, you know.
Right. That's right. And I get that. Let's talk about what you have going on today. First of all, let me say thank you for serving the country, our country, and being a part of the military. So it was 3 of you guys in the beginning, and then a tragedy happened. What can you talk about that and how that happened?
Yeah, we got back in the studio to start recording the 3rd album. And Kenny sat me and Jeff down and told us that, you know, he was sick and he was going through a lot of personal stuff. Everybody knows, you know, the story. It's not my business to put it out, you know, again. Right. But he pretty much laid it on the table for us to digest, and it was painful. And you know, just to watch him over that amount of time just leave us. It wasn't like a track. It wasn't like a today type of thing where a car accident or something like that. You know, we had to physically visit him and watch him go through his ordeal. And he still showed great strength. Spirits was high and stuff like that. And it was at that point of his passing that I still love music, but I really didn't want to do it anymore professionally. I wanted to just fall back. And to be honest with you, I didn't see how we would be able to do it professionally without him. Yeah. So it was a lot of mixed feelings going on. And I had actually gotten a job by that time too, because, you know, I knew life was going to have to go on.
So it kind of affected you, the other 2 remaining, because it was like, it's always been us 3. It's been a trio.
And it's not just been us 3. It's like he was the head on the body.
At what point did you guys say, okay, Kenny would want us to do this? You know, how did you guys get back in the game?
We got back in the game by promoters just calling us. Like, I think when H-Town started going on the road, because they had the same tragedy that we had. They lost their lead singer. Yeah. When H-Town started going back on the road, then the promoters started calling us too. So we ended up going like over to England, and we sold out the O2 Arena without our lead singers. So once that happened, then the promoters started calling us. We put together a dynamite show. You know, nobody's trying to sound like Kenny. Everybody knows that Kenny's passed. And we just tried to make the show believable as possible. And if you've seen us perform in the last 5 to 10 years, because we've been back on the road for about 5-10 years, we haven't gotten booed. You know, we haven't gotten booed.
It worked.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
it's been you know, mixed emotions, because you're always looking to your left. I'm used to looking around and seeing 2 people. So, and by doing that, I kind of like, we was like adding people to the group. We've added like 3 or 4 other people. Yeah, we added like 3 or 4 other people, but it just didn't work. It just always ended up like, because I'm real strict. Anybody that knows me, I'm kind of like a really shrewd business dude. Yeah. And if somebody comes into, I don't call it my business, but it kind of like is my business. Yeah. And they're not professional, or they're not like carrying their weight, then I'm quick to fire people. Yeah. And it all mostly like all the time, except for one time, it ended with people wanting to fight me, because I'm like, I'm not going to lower our standards. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going
to. That's just business. That's right. So did you have to have a fight, buddy?
No, I'm good at talking my way out of fights. I can fight, but I'd rather talk my way out of it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's good. I love it. All right, so now we can talk about what you guys have going on today, currently, and moving forward.
Okay. Currently, shout out to Mr. Cheeks and the Lost Boys. I'm on Lost Boys' new album. A couple of songs on there. We're about to shoot the video for a song we have coming up this fall.
Okay.
Intro, we have the documentary that's in the film festivals right now. It's a full feature film shot by Jason Evans. Shout out to Jason Evans at 360 Indiflix Film. And recently on June 4th, the record label re-released Come Inside and Ribbon in the Sky digitally, because remind you, we put out CDs and cassettes and vinyl, but we never had a digital release until this year. So that kind of introduced us to other people.
Just this June 4th?
June 4th, 2021. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So it's out there now, and it gave us a nice little push through the summer, and looking forward to the documentary. October 24th, we're gonna have a screening in New York. And then, of course, we're going to have the Amazon Primes. It's going to end up in those markets right there, but we want to try to actually get it into some theaters or on the network first before we go to Amazon Prime. But that's totally up to, Jason Evans, who's the director.
Okay. All right. Well, I am so, again, thankful that you came and you shared your experience, your journey. Like, I'm glad to have met you, and I'm glad to have, heard your journey. It's important to me.
And you're based out of?
So I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in Oklahoma.
Someone asked us about Oklahoma City. They said they was putting a tour together, and it was Oklahoma City, Las Vegas, and one more place. I want to say Colorado. I know we're going to Colorado in February, but this person was just asking about would we be interested. And when they said Oklahoma, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if I've been to Oklahoma.
If you come to Oklahoma, you better let me know so I could come and see y'all. Let me know. And I'll be there wherever you are, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, whatever, I'll be there. I'm between Oklahoma and Houston, Texas a lot, but if you go to Houston, I'll let me know.
Okay.
Will you be safe and your family? I pray that you guys are all safe. Go ahead and tell the people how they can reach you on all social media sites.
Yeah, Buddy Wike, W-I-K-E, like a bike. It's like a bike, but with a W. A lot of people think my name is Buddy White, so they go look for Buddy White and they can't find me, but it's Buddy Wike Music. buddywike.com, and
In the meantime, you guys, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you being here. Remember, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless.